In this video, we are going to show you on how to design a website inside of Photoshop. Stick around. Turn it up! Be sure to subscribe and to hit that notification bell. If you hit that notification bell, you will get all of our notifications for every new video we upload. Alright, so as you can see, we are inside of Adobe Photoshop, and this is Adobe Photoshop 2020. It doesn't matter as to what Photoshop version that you are using. We have the latest software because we use it regularly in the industry, but you can use the older version if you need to. So what we are going to do is we're going to create a simple home page for our new website, which will be for Webflow to WordPress, and we are going to show you the process on designing it, and then we're going to show you on how to make a WordPress template. So the first thing we're going to show you is we're going to insert our logo, and we're going to say Webflow to WordPress. That will come up there. I'm going to make sure that our logo is fully white. And I'm also going to insert the channel icon because that's got the actual color we are looking for. Okay, so I can't find it in there. I'll find it here. There we go. Okay, so we found our logo. We're going to insert the logo. There it is. And practically now, what we're going to do is we're going to grab the colors. There are two main colors that we'll be using. Just two different types of blue. And we're also going to use one shade. When you're doing a website, you want to try and keep your colors to a bare minimum. You don't want to be going overboard with the different colors, and if you use multiple colors, you also want to have colors that complement each other. It can be challenging at times, but every website that is professional has a keeps it into the one or two color area, and maybe a complementary shade as well. So that's just some basic coloring. So I'm going to change that logo name to logo so we know what we are working with. I'm going to go ahead and save our WordPress template inside of Photoshop, so the design. So I'm going to call it WordPress to Webflow website template tutorial. Okay, so now that we've done that, I'm going to say Control-Shift-N to create a new layer, and we're going to call this header. We're going to select the logo and the header, and we'll press Control-G. Inside of that, we'll call that header. Underneath that, we will create a new rectangle up the top. This will be our main menu. Menu sizes I like to keep small. I don't want them to be too big. Sometimes people make them too big or too small. At the end of the day, the idea behind a menu is just to navigate through the website. So it doesn't matter on what page you are on, you are always able to go to where you need to go. So that's the basics behind it. So I'll just save that again, like so. Now we're going to move that logo into the right hand corner. So click on the Show Transform Controls. And then we'll use Shift and left arrow to move it, and Shift to up arrow, and we'll move it up like that. And I'm just going to make that a bit smaller, just so we can actually see the logo. Now, just a personal preference, I like all my websites to have it even and a consistent margin on both the left and right hand side. And that's one thing I've noticed with a lot of websites, the margin hasn't been kept hasn't been kept even. So if you don't use the even margin, it can actually have an effect on the overall presentation of the website. Okay, so now we're going to add a menu to our website design. So we create a new layer called menu, and because we have used our first complementary color, we will change that color inside our swatches down at the bottom. I'm just going to make that a bit bigger, like so. There we go. Now that we've done that, we'll go to the right hand side of the screen. We'll change the color to white. I'm going to select our font. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to make sure our menu is in capitals. Again, that's more of a personal preference. I like them to be in capitals because a menu is a statement and it will stand out from the rest of the page. But again, it comes down to your personal preference when it comes to designing websites. So we will do home, and I'm going to even spacing 1, 2, 3, 4, WordPress, tutorials, 1, 2, 3, 4, Webflow, tutorials, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, cPanel, tutorials, and then I'm going to make that a bit, not bigger, smaller, and we're going to move this across, like so. Now in my head, I'm also going to put in, maybe not now, we'll move it right across like that. And just so we know on what page we are on, we are going to add a square behind the home option, just like that. And we're going to put it there. I'm going to try and match the height as to our main header. And we're going to move it across. We're going to click color overlay. We'll select this color right here. And we're going to make it just a bit darker so people can see clearly that they are on the home page. The biggest question I ask myself when I design a website is, what do I want the user to do and what do I want the user to achieve? And practically every time I do that, it's normally simplicity and it's a website straight to the point as well. So I'm just going to make that a bit smaller. We'll say menu current, which will be our current home page. We'll move our logo up a bit more, like that. And we'll also move the menu to be aligned with the header. So we'll make sure that's horizontally aligned. Alright, there we go. So we've made our header. And now will bring us to the next part of the video. We're actually going to design a nice big slider which will sit up the top. Now, because I don't really know what I'm going to put in that slider just yet, I'm just going to put in a placeholder. So when I go to design it in WordPress, when I go to make it in Webflow, it will just, we can replace that in WordPress with a plugin. So we'll do something about that size to start off with. And practically what we'll do inside of that slider, we're going to add in a darker text. We'll add in a note. We'll say recent news. Actually, recent tutorials. We'll say that. And now we will add in a text tool. Click enter in what we just copied, make that big. We won't actually include that text inside of the actual slider. This is just a reference. And we'll write down slider reference. So practically what we're deciding, I should have mentioned this at the start, we are deciding our above fold. So this will be the first thing, the very first thing that the user will see when they go onto your website, both on the desktop, their iPad, and on the phone. And we are going to make it extremely simple for them to follow along and to do what they need, and to allow them to do what they need to do. Okay, so now that we've done that, we're going to add in a new section underneath the website. Now we're going to use a darker tone, and we're going to add in a new text, and we're going to say WordPress, like that, WordPress tutorials, and I'm just going to align it to the left. Underneath that, I'm going to put in a line, but I'll just use a square, and in post, and when we actually make it inside of Webflow, we will know that it's just a little border. Now I'm going to zoom in a bit more, click on Show Transform Controls, and we are going to make that line just a bit thinner so it stands out. And we will move it down a bit. We'll actually lower the opacity because I don't like on how bright it is. And we're going to say WordPress tutorials, like so. And underneath that, we'll make a new group. We'll select those two layers and we'll say heading. And then we're going to create we're going to change that color, and we'll just make that color a bit darker so we can see it. Now we're going to create a new square, just like so. Actually, I don't like how that looks, so we'll delete that. What I will get though is we'll go into flaticon.com. If you're looking for different icons for free, this is the best place to go. And we'll say arrow left. And we'll select this one right here. We'll go copy image. Actually, we'll save that as a PNG. And then we'll go into Photoshop, File, Place, Embed, and we'll jump down to Downloads, select Back, bring it down to the bottom left-hand side, and we'll actually make that a bit smaller so it's there but not there kind of thing, and we'll make sure it's perfectly aligned. And sometimes you have to be a bit OCD as well when you're doing website design. So if you can pick up that high form of detail, that's a very good skill to have. And we'll just change the opacity for it to blend in. Practically in the final design, we'll have it so when you hover over, that will become a bit darker. But that's only if the user hovers over the actual arrow. And we'll click on that left square right here. I'm going to press the dash button on the keyboard, like that, to flip it, and we'll hit enter twice. Now we'll just move it across to the right hand side. And now we're going to say right arrow, left arrow. What you want to keep in mind is you don't actually have to extract all of these icons that we are creating. We can actually just use the left arrow, and then when we design and make the actual website in Webflow, we can use that arrow and we can actually rotate it or flip it, and that way we don't have to use precious space when we are making the actual slide and things like that. Okay, so now that we've done that, we're going to select these two arrows and we're going to create a new group, and we're going to call these arrows. Okay, so now that we've done that, we will also, we might actually add in a little square at the bottom here, and this square will get people to sign up to our emailing list. So we'll we'll change that to a blue, like that. And there we go. Practically, we are going to have a scroll animation. So when someone scrolls, it will actually animate as well. So we might even make this as a gradient, maybe. I'm not 100% sure yet. I don't know what happened there, so we'll just make that. We'll double click on it. Color overlay. Select that blue. And we'll hit OK. And then we'll hit enter again. Now we'll create a new group for that layer, and we'll call this email list call to action, so CTA. And we'll also show you on how to create an emailing list as well. So that way when someone signs up to the emailing list, they'll get a notification every time you make a new post on your WordPress website. And if you make a new, or if someone adds a comment or something like that, there will all of the notifications will come through, and it's a good way to promote yourself. If you want to create a private emailing list, that's another way to do it. So now we'll change the rectangle to background, so we know what it is. We'll create a new layer. We'll call that CTA heading, just like so, and we'll use the text tool. We'll say join our emailing list now. I'm going to make that a bit smaller. Or maybe, actually, we'll leave it like that. And we'll use a rounded rectangle tool. And we call this input field. This will be the text box. I'm going to click on the link icon. And I'm going to say 20 pixels top, 20 pixels bottom. Okay, well that's close enough. But for this, on the right hand side and the left hand side, we don't want anything, so it should be straight. And we'll change the color to white. Just like that, we'll hit enter. But I think it would look better in the final design, so we'll move this down just a bit more to make it a bit bigger and to give it some padding. We'll actually change the color to that blue, and we'll do a bit like an inverted look, so we'll have a stroke. We'll change that to a solid, so a color. And we'll change that to white. Maybe we'll have it to 5 pixels, 2 pixels. There we go, that's how I imagined it. And we'll make that a bit smaller. I don't like that size. Move that just about there. Now that we've done that, we're going to create a placeholder text for it. So we'll just say enter your email here, so we know what it's for. I don't know what I pressed, so we'll click on view. Okay, so we fixed that little issue with the grids. So practically what we were doing before was we were working on our email box down here to get people to sign up. So now we'll make a new text layer, and we'll enter in the text, so we'll paste it. We'll make that size a bit smaller. Move it to the right. And we'll change the color so the color is actually white and not that grey. Hit enter, and we'll click on that move. And we'll leave it as is. We'll create a new layer, we'll call it button. And we'll move it across like that. Just big enough so we can enter in what we need. We don't want any radius on the left hand side, but we do want 20 pixels top and 20 pixels bottom. Okay, now we'll change the color of the button to white, just like so. And we'll just make that just a bit smaller so it lines up evenly. Like I said, you kind of have to be a bit OCD. Actually, we'll move this up just a bit. We'll add a stroke. Like that. We'll move it to the right. It won't actually look like that in the final, on the final website, but it'll look close enough. And we'll enter in some text, so Control-Shift-N will say sign up, exclamation point. Copy that, change the color so we can read it. Select the text tool, and we'll enter in that text again. Now I'm going to show you a little trick. We'll select that button layer, then we'll click on the vertically align tool, and we'll use a horizontal align tool, and that will make that in the center, and that will fit perfectly. Now where it says enter your email, where it says CTA heading, we're going to change that, and we'll change the color overlay to white, and we'll move the actual input field. Actually, we'll create a new group, and we'll call this input field, and we'll move it up just like that, and we'll say CTA full so we know what it is, and we'll just make sure it's horizontally aligned to the center. Now I like the position of it, but the one thing you might have realized is that you've got all of this space on the right hand side. So maybe what we'll do instead is we'll have it vertically aligned, and we'll just make it vertically aligned so we're filling up the space. That way we utilize the entire space that we have. So practically that's the basis of our website and what the website will look like. And if you were to show this to a client, obviously you'll go through and you finish the full design. But because we are recording a video tutorial, we don't want to spend ages going through every little bit and pieces of the video on how to design the full website. We just wanted to keep it simple. In the next video, we'll show you on how to create a Webflow website, and Webflow will generate all of the code for us. And after that, we'll show you on how to turn that code into a working WordPress template. And the best thing about that is you don't need to learn how to code, and that's the future of web development. Be sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and don't forget to check out the next video. Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you soon.